Welcome. So excited to be here today. My name's Kyle Allen, a managing partner here with Vaco Nashville, joined by Kim Wainwright. Excited to be back.
Excited to be here.
We've talked a little bit last time on company culture. Here to talk a little about connectivity.
Yeah.
In this COVID world that we're hopefully, Kim,
almost post-COVID.
coming out of it.
Almost. I'm hoping.
And so here to talk a little bit about kind of what we're doing, what we're seeing between clients, and hear what we're doing here internally, and have a good discussion, because I think that a lot of, there's a little bit of fatigue of connectivity, or how to do it, or what not to do, or too much of it. So excited to kind of talk through it.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about you, but I feel like we learned so much last year and how to connect last year. And now everyone's super excited to move into the next phase. And that's going to look different too, right?
That's right. We're learning again.
We are learning again. We're all learning again. Yeah. So feel free, as we're going through this, to send in any questions. You can type those in and we'll get to those, and happy to talk about as many things as you guys would like to talk about. So let me ask you this, Kyle. We've been having a lot of conversations with different people recently as it relates to the uncharted territory we were in last year. Yeah. And again, we're starting sort of an uncharted territory this year. And I feel like last year, a lot of what we did right after we all went home in March was everything stopped, all questions, all decisions, everything went right to leadership. And now we're kind of at a place, I think, we need to start talking about pushing that back out to the front lines and all of our employees out there. And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think through the connectivity and being together, right? What does together look like? But I think for the decisions we're making from a business standpoint, or projects we're working on, or getting more of I think leaders need to talk less, right? And bring more people to the table right now to collaborate on certain situations or ideas, or where do we drive? And so I think that's the thing that I'm learning the most with we can get into the remote work for. That's the biggest question I'm hearing. I was like, what are we going to do with remote and coming back and whatnot? And that's a topic. There's a few others internally we're looking at, is getting people's ideas, and as opposed to, I feel like we were in like crisis mode a year ago, right? Where it's like, nothing matters, fix it, do this, and get this, and there's like 3 or 4 people in the room, and we're just doing what we can to kind of keep things together. And now I feel like we've come up for air, and it's sunny, right?
Yeah.
And I think, the more, and I feel like providing that sense of getting people to, what are you feeling, what do you think, be more collaborative, is really refreshing.
Yeah.
How to do that is a little challenging right now, because I do feel like there's some Zoom Teams fatigue. And so you got to kind of watch the amount that you're trying to pull and push from people as they're still trying to do their job, but also, okay, how are they going to be a part of this new hybrid work life we're in?
Yeah, so. And I think too, as we're moving into somewhat of a hybrid model, we're already starting to experience less Zoom, more team collaboration, and pulling together different groups and doing different things sort of like normal, not so let's pull all 100 people together to talk about something. Yeah. We're starting to diversify and pick out topics that we want to work with, and pulling together teams to do those, and then delivering that back out to a larger group.
No, for sure. And I think it's hard to make decisions with a group of 40, 50, right? But I think kind of picking a few out of each of the population of subgroups, and kind of bubbling that up, and what do you think about this idea or that? And also, I think it's really important for us to not say, hey, this is what we're doing. It's like, hey, what if we did this? What's an idea? And then also coming over the top and saying this isn't the end all be all, but there's not a bad idea. You can take pieces of the ideas and kind of and put the puzzle together.
No, I would agree. And you hit a great point. I do, as I think all of us are having conversations internally as well as with our clients and different consultants and candidates that we're working with. What that hybrid model is going to look like, that is the question. And every organization seems to be looking at different things. So what are you hearing?
Yeah, I think it depends I think it depends a little bit on the role the individual's in. Mm-hmm. I think the type of organization you are, what do you do, who do you serve? For us, we're a people business, right?
Right.
And so it's tough for us to be completely remote and build a culture of people without people, right? And so I think for us, I mean, Vaco, there will be an inside-outside model. There will be a hybrid, right? I think the flexibility is great. I think we've all learned through this. You don't have to be in your seat, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday to be effective, right? I think that myth, hopefully, I never thought that anyways, personally, but hopefully the folks that are more senior than I or other people below me that had that is now gone, right? So I think we can provide a true, and we say before COVID, work-life balance. What is work-life balance? Getting people off at 5, that's not work-life balance, right? And so there's some flexibility, things come up and moving and shaking flexibility, but I think there will be some hard, fast days of the week that we're all here, we're together, we're collaborating. You just get more done, and building relationships is really, really hard through a computer screen. It is, right? And so I think some companies are going to have some hard decisions to make when they're all in or all out. I think, or hybrid. I think all three come up with certain scenarios and positives and negatives on all of it, right? And there also could be different rules for different people too, based on the roles. And I think that needs to be accepted as well.
And I think the other thing that I saw personally this year is I do need to be with people. I enjoy being with people. I love the interaction with people, but there is also a time that I do need some quiet time to really focus and push through some projects. And I feel like it's going to be important to keep those things top of mind for everyone's in that same place. Everyone has that, and I think it's going to be really important to look within teams, within organizations. The organization's model is this, potentially the team model could be this, and really look at everyone's strengths and weaknesses, how they work their day best, and take some of that into consideration as well.
No, I think you're totally right. I mean, the efficiency aspect of it is something to consider, of how much, if we have individuals that are out externally selling to clients, how much is spent driving on the road, sitting in traffic, coming back to do this one call to go back out again. Like, is it efficient for them just to sit at home, have a lunch, and come back and work from home for the half a day, and then it's just it's a little bit of a.
And I think even I know as I feel like as we're talking with candidates and different specifically with employees in the marketplace, whether it be a consultant or someone full-time looking for another position, they're kind of all over the place too. They enjoy bits and pieces of this. They enjoy bits and pieces of this. Being at home versus being in the office, we're not hearing a lot of, I want to do this exclusively. It's a little bit of both. And so I do think it'll be important for companies to think, how can we offer that as well?
That's also the hard part too, is like, the onboarding situation with organizations has been tough, because usually it was a fully remote or fully in the office. And now there's this middle ground that they're trying to figure out and what to do, and then you have the whole real estate space, and there's just a lot of questions that come off of it, right? But I think if companies aren't listening to their people about what they want, I think they're at a disadvantage competitively. And I'm not saying there's a one-size-fits-all for everybody, but I also think you got to have a backbone as an organization and say, hey, there's a couple things that we've got to do together, right?
100%.
So
100%. So, with that, you mentioned onboarding, and I feel like most organizations figured out the onboarding process pretty quickly.
Shockingly.
Really quickly.
Really quickly.
But then the next phase is, now let's talk about training and integrating into the rest of the team.
Right. Well, I think this is the hard part, right? Because we didn't do a ton of hiring through COVID, and now we have started back doing that. I think it's really, at least in our business, it's a people business. We learn through hearing and seeing, and so there's some studying we can do, but I think the leadership and also the new people learning a new business, they've probably got to be more present than not, right?
That's right.
If you're new to being a developer, obviously development, and you just kind of, you don't need much training. You're just going, right?
Just go.
So again, it comes back to the job you're in. But I think for us and who we're training, there are going to be more here than not, right? As they learn, and that goes. I think that puts us as a leadership team here more than not as well. But I think for companies out there that have once they kind of get the feel of the job and they're off, I think they become a little more flexible too.
And so, with that, learning the job and getting up to speed, then we talk about the teamwork and keeping the culture that you have within your organization as well as within your team, and making the new person feel a part of the team that's remote. I know within our group, with some of the hires that we've done and some of the clients that we've worked with, in addition to having some one-on-one Zoom meetings with the management team, it's been a lot of one-on-one with the new hire in addition to the team meetings, so that person gets to know
Yep.
all the different individuals as people, not just as this is their role in the team, but like let's really get to know one another and be intentional about spending some time together.
The remoteness definitely delays that relationship, right? You don't jump into the water and everybody's just like, sometimes you're like, where is everybody? You know, I'm by myself at the home and can't, the connectivity is slower. But I think, you know, the one-on-ones just across the board are helpful, right? And not only for new individuals, but like, there's so many situations of, you know, there's an individual with a sick parent, or they themselves, something just tragic happens, or just they're emotionally drained, or just, I think there's the more of the one-on-one professional check-in, but just like from a leadership team, it's one thing we try to do is just, how are you doing? Like, some that question can take you a lot of different ways, and so I think you can overthink the just the professional piece of how to make this all work, when you just really need to stop and ask the question, how you doing, right? And what's been going on.
Right.
And I think it just shows a level of empathy within the leadership group of, hey, we care, right? How can we help? And sometimes it takes you down a path. You're like, wow, I didn't think we were talking about this today. But it's fine, it's great.
Yeah.
They trust that. But I think there's a lot of different things that you never know what anybody's going through, but especially the last 12 months, it's taken a lot of people in a lot of different directions.
That's right. And how you're feeling today may be different than how you feel next week, which is very different from how you feel in a month from now.
Right. And with the feelings, like I say this a lot, your feelings matter. They do, right? Now, your actions from your feelings you shouldn't act on some of those, right? But like how you're feeling, what's behind that, what is it, let's talk about it. And that kind of goes back to the communication of, it could be a team thing, it could be an individual issue. Right. But kind of communicating about that and what it is.
So what are your thoughts moving into, let's talk about post-vaccine. Nobody still really knows what that's going to mean.
That's right.
But talking about redeveloping that culture and that time together and events, because they went from one thing completely to another, and that's maybe even going to look different through the summer and into the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, is we've incorporated a few things, right? We started, everybody's done the Zoom stuff, so that's obviously still there, and trivia and the horse racing.
Bingo and horse racing, all the stuff.
And now we're starting to plan, I think, we're starting to plan a few things for the summertime, outdoor events.
Right.
The carnival we're doing, and other things like that as you're trying to prepare in the fall and hoping that some people feel comfortable and we can do that.
Yeah.
But the large crowds of what we used to do with clients and consultants and us and 200 plus people, like we may be
still a little on
pause.
Maybe
a bit away from that, right?
Yeah.
And so I think through Thanks is a good partner with us. We've been using their product. A good bit to connect with clients and consultants, and other different ways, creative ways to try to do that. I know our IT team is doing a big May the 4th event as well.
What is this again?
May the 4th be with you.
Okay.
Is what it is. I'm not a Star Wars individual, but it is a hit among the technology platform, or the technology team and their consultants and clients. And so
can't wait to see the pics.
Yeah, they dress up, they go full out. So if you have not been a part of that and you're an individual in the tech community, you should definitely join. So a lot of different avenues we're looking at. And just, I think, being intentional and trying to engage that for sure.
Yeah. I think it's also been interesting in the beginning of this, getting on Zoom and having meetings in video was so awkward.
Yeah.
It was for me.
Yep.
I don't want to speak for the whole country, but it was, or the whole community, but it was for me. Now, I mean, I FaceTime my son. I don't even call him anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's just normal.
Well, I think you're going to find that.
But I'm ready for this.
Yeah. Well, I think when we talk about going, there's a lot of people that had struggled going home. I didn't have any problem kind of coming back, but I think there's a lot of people that are comfortable at home and are going to have to really use some muscles that we haven't used before to come back into the office. It's going to be just as hard coming back as it was going home for some people. And I think a lot of people are thinking of this individualistically, which is great, and I would too, but I think as a team, as an organization, we're better together, right? And I think understanding that, and how do we expand, and how do we learn from each other, and how do we grow, and you also conflict resolute, you fix things just quicker too when you're together as well. So I think that is going to be a lift for some people
Yeah.
that have been at home, and not saying COVID's not, but some of them are there at convenience as well, which is fine.
Yeah,
and it's
for
worked
sure.
and it's been great, and they're hitting what they need to do here at work, and they've been super dependable and they're accessible,
Yeah.
right? But I think
And I'm still fine with the no traffic.
yeah,
It
no.
makes coming into work a lot nicer.
That's right. That's right, for sure. And that, but I think that traffic situation, hopefully some give take
Yeah.
there, and I get it. There's some
Yeah.
time. But it should be interesting as
Yeah.
we come back.
Yeah.
And when that is, Kim, do you have a date when we're going to all be back?
If I knew that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking with you right now. So, let's talk a little bit more then about what I would like to talk about is it sounds like, I know at VACO, we have been very transparent from the beginning through the entire duration. This is where we are, this is what we have to do, and some days are easier than others. But, now that we're talking about business is starting to come back again, companies are hiring again. I think all businesses are starting to really do well, and it's going to make it, I think, even more important to not just, I'm going to lead and shepherd you, how do we do this, but now how do we lead and get to the next place and continue to drive business further for all organizations? What are your thoughts on leading with transparency as we get growing again?
Well, I think, anytime you lead with transparency, there's some comfortableness from everybody. They feel they lean into it. And also you can be too transparent at times when you don't have the idea of fully baked of when you say it and you're like, well, what about that? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
And so I think leaders need to be comfortable with the answer, I don't know.
I don't know.
And some aren't. And I've gotten to know it really well this year. And I'm sorry is a good one too.
Yeah.
Where potentially I've made some steps where I'm like, God, I didn't think about that, right? And so I think transparency is good overall, but I think it shines light on things that, hey, we don't have it all together. That's why we need each other first off. And then also two, I think, with transparency and with this, like, we need to make a decision, right? Collectively, and then somebody the leadership team has to decide, like, hey, we've talked, I think this is best for us, right? And there could be some caveats to it, but I think that's the biggest thing too, is with leading with transparency, they're also going to be able to understand that you don't have to always have the answer.
Right, and I think, with all the systems and processes and things that we've put in place to be transparent, technology is a big part of that, right? Yeah. And we've incorporated a lot of technologies this year that have made us more efficient from a process standpoint. What do you think about there being a net negative result with so much automation and so much technology and so reliant on that?
Yeah, well, well, there's two. We felt this with the reliance on technology and the increase. It's always changing, right? Yeah. And I think what we felt here is like a change fatigue almost. And I felt it, and even pushing it down and talking about it. It's just like again, another. Yeah. And so I hope is that as we're going through this and changing environment like this, we're just constantly evolving, right? And I think the more people lean into it, be like, okay, what if? How do I learn? And then I've heard from a few people like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. Yeah. I just needed to take a minute, stop. Here it is. Yeah. But technology's here to stay, and I promise you, it's going to keep changing and evolving. I will say this though, through anything we have, like, it's hard to beat this.
Without a doubt. It's
hard to beat a relationship. It's technology. There's no empathy. There's no feelings with technology. Right. And so I'm going to be hard pressed to be in a debate that we're going to be eliminated. I'm not saying we can't be, but just people and relationships and how we do business, will it change? For sure. I'm not saying how we do this won't be the same. Yeah. But so I think it's lot coming.
Learned a lot this year.
For sure.
Learned a lot this year. Okay, I think I saw a question come in. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, so we do have a question. Talking about one-on-one meetings with teammates and our perspective on team meetings versus individual meetings, going into the new, whatever that means, the importance of continuing those one-on-ones. Yeah. We did a lot of that this year.
I think here's the biggest thing is, and we actually talked about this today with you, is you're like, I scheduled my ones I had in Q1, I already scheduled Q2. I'm like, that's a great idea. Just schedule it.
Because I'm so organized.
Well, it works. It does, right? It's on the account like, oh, I'm meeting with so-and-so today.
Yeah.
As opposed to me, who I know I have to set up some one-on-ones with my core team, and I do everybody one-on-one too, and I set that up, or I have help setting that up from Jules. But I think that I just think the intentionality is the key in hearing what people are doing and the connectivity there for sure. So.
Absolutely. Okay.
Awesome.
Let's see. Did I see another question come through? I thought I did. Nope. I thought I did, but I didn't. So.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Connectivity. Stay connected. Technology is going to help us do that. And who knows? What's our topic going to be next time, Kim?
I don't know.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one, though.
It's going to be a good one.
Love it.
No,
so,
it was fun.
This is awesome. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Appreciate it.
And look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Thank you.